All right, folks, welcome back. I wanted to do a quick update video on the ShotMarker system. So I reached out to them after the last video to ask about getting our poster board target added to the system and also some of the other feature requests that I mentioned in the last video. Good news, we're going to get the target. So I expect to be able to make my ShotMarker screen in my videos look a whole lot like the traditional target view that you're used to. The other big thing was getting the total group size added to that group analysis box. If you remember, you could define a box and it gives you statistics or an analysis for the shots within that box. He's going to add total group size. So those were the two biggest things I really wanted, and we're going to get them both, and I don't think it's going to be that long. Now, the most serious criticism I saw was about the 3D printed parts. And I must admit, I was a little bit apprehensive about that as well. I hate to throw another company under the bus here, but my experience with 3D printed gun-related parts is mainly from chamber chiller. And I broke two of those things. The nozzle would break and the parts would delaminate and they were thin and I was rough on them. That's really the biggest thing to mention, is like I was rough on them. So I worried about similar problems with these parts. And the more I've handled them, and now that I've asked ShotMarker about it and that stuff, I really don't think it's going to be an issue. These do not feel the least bit thin. None of this feels thin. I don't know anything about 3D printing, and I don't want to act like I do, but it seems like this is printed thick, and he did mention the nozzle size and the plastic and stuff, but I don't know anything about it, so I'd rather just not risk putting out bad info. I know some of you guys are probably 3D printer nerds and you know stuff, and I just don't. And to be honest, the access point and the sensor hub, I didn't even know you could do this with 3D printing. I mean, you can see that's gloss, you can see my light in the reflection. I don't, the sides, of course, you can see the lines and stuff, but the flat parts are glossy and look great. So these were really never a concern for me. It was mainly these target sensors. And like I say, I wish I could put one in all of your hands so you could kind of feel it for yourself. It doesn't feel the least bit fragile. So hopefully that, maybe helps to chill some people out on that. I mean, the most important thing is they've got a 2-year warranty, and I'll read you exactly what's on the side. It says, all electrical components are fully sealed and waterproof. Feel free to leave the system set up on the frames overnight or even 24/7. That's honestly good enough for me. I'm really not worried about it. And especially, like, let's say my target frame tipped over while I had them on there and I did crack one. If you remember, these are, I think it was $40 to replace one. So it's the least expensive part of the whole system. Now, where I think the quality really matters, like the audio connectors, the switches feel good, the micro USB feels good. So I think the parts that matter is where the focus really is. And 3D printing just allows them to be a lot more flexible as the product goes through its normal evolution of redesigns and stuff like that. So there were a ton of comments by people saying they're going to miss the target camera. We've done it the same way for years here on my channel, all of my range time, and you're worried about it being different. I understand that, but listen, you got to trust my creative instincts here. I think it's going to be a superior viewing experience all the way across. A lot of people mentioned, they like seeing the bugs crawl across the screen and stuff like that. I think once we've got this up and running and we've got our target in the system, being able to see group sizes in real time, being able to see velocity statistics at the target in real time, that's going to make for a better video than seeing the bugs crawl around. And you're going to still see the bugs crawl around. Like I mentioned, stuff like 6 PPC, anything subsonic, like 300 blackout videos, I'll still be using the same old target camera. And if for some reason I can't get this right, if I can't get it the way I envision it, then I won't use it. Or we'll use it as a supplement. So just stick with me, give me a little bit of time to get everything figured out, and I think it's going to be a great addition to the videos. Now, another common criticism was that the price is too high, which it kind of blows my mind a little bit. $800 is a lot of money, of course it is. If you don't go to the range very often, or if most of your shooting is just dumping 30-round AR mags into the berm at 15 feet, of course this is a stupid waste of money. But if you can't step back for 1 second and realize what a value this is for especially competitors. I don't know what to tell you, brother. You know, practicing for something like F-class or whatever, you got to have somebody in the pits down at the target butts pulling and scoring your targets and all of that stuff. It's a two-man operation. So this sort of system allows unlimited practice all by yourself. That's worth every bit of $800 for a competitor like that. Or if you're, if you want to shoot long range and you don't have a spotter, or you want to get a little bit more precise feedback on your long range shooting than just, hitting a steel plate or watching where bullets hit the dirt, like this could be a good value if that's your game. So, I'm not trying to sell this thing to you. That's the thing. I made this video, or my last video and this video, because I just wanted to introduce it, because you're going to start seeing it on my channel. But this is never going to be something that every Joe Blow has, most likely. I mean, maybe we'll get to that point at some time in the future. But if the price seems astronomical to you, you're not the target customer. And that's okay. This same company makes a trickler, the auto trickler, if you've seen that. I'm never going to buy one of those. That's not how I reload. I think having $1,000 spent on a scale and a trickler would alienate a big portion of my audience who doesn't want to fool with that sort of stuff. So I just understand that I'm not the target customer, but I can see that a whole lot of people would find great value in something like that. So keep things in perspective, folks. Now, the idea I brought up about being able to shoot with your friends over the internet, with your ShotMarker systems or whatever, just e-target systems in general, seemed to be well received. Got a few people that thought that was cool. And the more I think about it, I really hope that's a third-party application that does that. That way, if you've got the ShotMarker, or what was that other one, the Solo or whatever. And I think there are some cheaper, I think they're less precise versions of this, where it's just like a bar you sit down in front of your target and it basically looks up at your target. So as systems like this get cheaper and more available, it would be nice to have a third-party application to where any system could connect into it. And then you take it farther, like, why can't I have an application where my ShotMarker data comes in, my lab radar data comes in? Imagine if I could have a weather station connect in and display real-time weather information and virtual range flags all the way down the range. I mean, all of this is technically pretty simple. It's just a matter of it being commercially viable, I guess. So maybe someday. Now, the last thing here, I did mention that I'd love to see it where you could log in online and watch matches as they happen and stuff. Apparently that does already happen with several of the bigger electronic systems they use at the Olympics, and like I think one person mentioned they had competed in the Paralympics and that had been broadcast live over the internet. So it seems like it's coming. Well, it's already here. It won't be too long before your local range is live streaming their matches. I just got that feeling. All right, one last thing. I mentioned that I wanted to show the process of updating the system. And since it's going to be a little while before we get the update where my target gets added and that stuff, he gave me access to a beta version, I guess you'd call it, the pre-production, pre-release sort of deal. So let's run through that process real quick. Okay, so I flipped on the ShotMarker system and got logged in. And for the system update, we want to go up here to the access point configuration in the top left, and then we choose software update. Now our current version is 1.08. Now it says update software from file, so we want to browse. And we find the folder, where'd it go? There it is, ShotMarker update folder I made. And we see ShotMarker software, it is a tar file. And it looks like it's going to be 1.09. So let's double click there. Are you sure you wish to install the software version in this file? Yep, okay. Restarting, wait 20 seconds and then reload the page. Okay. Now my ShotMarker access point does look like it rebooted. The green LED flashed for a few seconds and now it looks like it's back to normal. So let's go ahead and hit the refresh button and we're back in. So if we go back up here, there we are, version 1.09 pre-release. Sweet. I should have taken some before and after screenshots. He did mention that I wouldn't really notice much had changed except a little bit better contrast on the text callers. Tell you what, let's create a couple shots here. There's 3 of them. And I'll tell you something I was wondering about the other day. Let's turn off the shot simulator and let's create a group analysis box. Zoom in a little bit there. Yeah, not seeing much. Let's name this group. Tell you what, that's one thing. That text on top there could use a little bit more contrast maybe. I'll have to mention that. Maybe see if that could be made a little bit more bold. Add a little bit. Let's go shots, all caps. See what that looks like. I guess it scales, or it, you know, stays the same size as you zoom in and out. So, I don't know. But yeah, don't really notice anything, which I guess is good. So that's how you update the ShotMarker system. Extremely easy. So I think that's where we'll leave it, folks. Just wanted to show that process, talk over a few of your concerns. So that's it for now. I'll see you guys next time.